Well, and I think that shows that background that your designers have in fashion. It comes into how these fabrics are tailored, how the zippers are placed, how the necklines are tailored to the different cuts. It shows. And when we talk about fashionable scrubs on this podcast, that's really what we're talking about is the look and feel and how it fits. So for our listeners out there, if you're in the market for scrubs and you have not checked out Jaanuu scrubs, you need to experience what this is all about.
Yes.
It is different by design, and that has a purpose in this industry. Now, when you look at where everything started, we go back to the founder. She had a very particular vision, having that physician-based approach to design and to scrubs and the functionality of it all. And I think it's always worth noting, anytime you're talking about sales, you're talking about transactions, you also got to look at buying behavior. And we've seen this a lot through the years where people want to be part of something more than just a transaction. And you have an incredible story with that physician-led inspiration into the marketplace. You also have the story of being a woman-owned business. So how have those two things opened new doors for you, getting this from a startup essentially to where we're at today?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I don't have the exact stat. But the healthcare market, especially nurses in general, lean feminine and female.
Yes.
And when it comes to respect and being able to relate with your customer, which all the great brands that I love, that's kind of where I'm captivated by, is how do I relate to this brand, their story, the founder, the owner, their mission, vision, right? So I think a lot of what we do is how do we continue to relate and let them know that they're being seen? I think as we went through COVID, there was this huge admiration for HCPs that no one saw coming, but we all kind of like felt, and there was this big like push, like, yeah, man, these guys are so awesome on the front lines. And I think it's kind of in its hangover phase. And I think healthcare professionals are probably more burnt now than they ever have been.
Yeah.
So I think as a how Neela relates to the brand, she can speak to the pulse of what's happening in the hospital and how people are feeling, and she can come back to us and give us great insights on, what we can do to help support healthcare professionals in uncertain or certain or times when things could be tough. So I think to round it out, I think Neela's background really keeps us humble and making sure that we're building product for the healthcare professional.
Yeah.
We're not chasing profit. We're doing it for them, and we're not cutting corners. Back to product. You guys probably know it better than I or equal, but like the YKK zipper, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like the Rolex of zippers. Yeah. And if you're a product person, you understand that. A lot of companies, as they scale, they're like, let's cut that cost.
Yeah.
Right. We pulled the data 2 months ago, and we haven't had a single zipper complaint because we've never used anything but YKK. We always use YKK. It costs a ton more, but we're never going to sacrifice it.
Yeah.
We're never going to throw it in the trash and say, let's get rid of that pocket. It's too costly. Because in our quarterly earnings call coming up, we got to show way more profit, right?
Sure.
We're not a public traded company. We don't have to do that. So yeah, I would say Neela keeps us humble. She keeps us connected to the market audience. She's relatable in a ton of ways, and she's amazing. So she's inspiring for us.
I think it's interesting you mentioned the marketplace and how much more demand is going to be happening when it comes to healthcare. I think the need for premium goods like this is going to continue to grow. I think we can see it with our parents' generation being a huge population that's getting older and is going to need more care. And like you mentioned, like the healthcare workers themselves are already very burnt down in the industry. So giving them things like this that can help them throughout their day, that they can rely on with quality, I think is going to be a huge benefit in supporting those folks as they have to go through a very, very difficult and hard job that they have to do on a day-to-day basis. So delivering goods that have been designed by a physician that they know they can rely on, is getting appropriate feedback and inspiration in those pieces, I think is huge.
Yeah. And, we've identified a gap in the healthcare side of higher ed. And I know you have as well. And it's interesting to see all this come together, and you look at the different ways that you can help support that marketplace. And a big thing for us has been technology. And I know that's something that has been big for your business as well. How have you embraced technology and bringing your products to the marketplace in different ways? And how is that kind of changing the game for you?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the hardest things that any brand probably goes through is fitting of scrubs or fitting of
Yeah.
product, right? Like a D2C brand, I'm ordering online. They order 5, 6 things. They keep one, they return the rest. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of cost there across the board for organization. So one thing that we've really tried to establish is how do we figure out biometrics on the site to really help the fitting experience? So someone punches in their DIMS, they can get something relatively close, which
Yeah.
hopefully helps them on an improved experience, helps us on a ton of ways to keep operational costs down, to keep our prices where they're at. So
Sure.
technology in a lot of ways for us is helping that experience of fitting. And then, I would say doubling down on what like a loyalty and rewards program feels and looks like.
Yeah.
It's something that we're really working towards this year and looking to launch into next year. But using technology as the backbone to have a way more tailored experience on site and understanding the customer and how we can support them. And maybe even to the degree where we know when they need their next set and they don't have to head to the website because they're so busy. So we can send them a push notification and it's one click and it ships, right? So I think there's a lot of evolution with tech there. And
I think technology is huge. I know as an organization ourselves, we're really like leaning into it now as a backbone to elevating our current branding solutions, right? And I think when we looked at healthware or healthcare space, right, we saw this huge opportunity where, especially on the university level, those brands are super important. They're tied to hospital systems, but they're typically not using modern day ways of streamlining the ordering process, right? You have your
It's like a PDF.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
You're writing it.
yeah. Here's your
I'm Dr. Smith.
you're doing Excel forms, PDFs. You're filling out paper forms. You're collecting sizes. You're having to do distribution and payment. Like it's a big nightmare. And there's never been a really great solution where I feel like you could have bridged the gap where you could get your casual, everyday wear, staff apparel, things of that nature, hard goods, and also bring in the uniform side with scrubs, but do it all on demand. And I think that's really where we leaned into tech and said, hey, we already have all these licenses and relationships. We already have the technology. Can we develop something with our integration that can really support this side of our campuses?
Yeah.
So I think it's been great being able to bring in brands like yours that can align with that premium story, leading with that purpose over product. But at the end of the day, not just give them something that I think solves, hey, here's your streamlined like hub where you can go every time to get your consistent uniform, but a way of allowing that brand to tell a bigger message, right? We know so often that these medical schools or nursing schools, they don't get the same type of awareness on the campus.
Yep.
So now this gives them a platform that they're able to market towards students, staff and faculty. They can use it for alumni. It really creates an online bookstore environment for them to engage folks and tell their brand story at a different level. And I think that's where we really lean into the innovation now is how can we use tech to, I think, augment that branding relationship and bring that story and experience to a whole new level. And so that's where we loved, I think, getting you on and to all the aligning conversations we've had, because I think there's such an opportunity here in the marketplace to, I think, really support folks here moving forward.
yeah, we couldn't agree more. And that's, partially of my decoration background and Mike at Next Level. And when we looked at, hey, how do we help the decorator like attack this market? Because the scrubs that have been available thus far, I mean, we all kind of know what's out there, and nothing is to where it could be, especially if you look at what we can bring to the market in a lot of ways. So a lot of the emphasis was, hey, how do we help the decorator? How do we help them go on demand? Even most scrub brands, it takes weeks to get custom scrubs out the door, weeks. So allowing decorators in their small town to service not just the hospital, but everything outside the hospital, which is a massive market.
Yeah.
Veterinarian, dental, skincare, IV drip clinics, like you name it. Those are the places that are wearing scrubs and that are growing massively. So we really said, hey, how do we launch this product and this channel into distribution? And SNS was going through a very large acquisition with Alpha, and Frank Myers, I think, from a leadership perspective, I don't think there's anyone better in the industry. And watching that team evolve in that acquisition and merger and really roll our product line into the mix has been super fun. So we have a really sound system with SNS where our products carried in 3 warehouses, and we went heavy in stock because historically speaking, no one wants to go heavy in stock as a distributor. And what does that do? It doesn't build any trust with decorators. They just look at it and say it's going to be out of stock next month. So whether it's allowing decorators to order next day from those guys and get product they need, or working with you guys on custom colorways that are coming specifically for a university, and we're hitting exact dye lots and Pantones. Jaanuu is really focused, especially on my side of the business, the B2B side. How do we help decorators? How do we help you guys? How do we help people take better care of the industry? Because it's fragmented when it comes to getting them what they want in a curated, decorated way, and then mixing the technology.
Very fragmented.
It's very hard because from the decoration side, all these, whether it's especially in scrubs, right, or the medical wear side, all the personalizations, the different logos needed, maybe it's patches. It's not an easy, usually set up to just, hey, get the order in, run on the embroidery machine, send it out the door, right?
It'd be nice.
Yes, but I think that's where we really leaned into leveraging our tech and making sure that everything that's offered through our storefronts is on demand. It's personalized for that individual, decorated. If personalization is needed, it can be added with a few clicks of a button. And delivered in 12 to 15 business days. Because you mentioned the turn time, and that's one of the big, I would say, pain points we've heard from the industry is, well, I ordered my scrubs and I didn't get them for 6 weeks, so I spent half the semester not in uniform when I'm supposed to be in lab or what, right? And so,
or they take them to a local embroidery house that's not a licensed decorator for the university anyway. And
so we really looked at
everything going on that shouldn't be going on.
We were trying to really look at that and say, how do we condense that time frame? It's so important for these folks to be in their uniforms and be on brand while they're in these settings. So while we can't be Amazon, and you know this from the decoration side, there is still going to be some time to apply the logos and decoration to the pieces. But how much of that can we turn on demand and turn it in 2 weeks for our clients?
I mean, for me, Jason, I think about how we've attacked this in the marketplace, and it just always boils back down to access to choice.
Yes.
And we hear that from every campus where there's a tried and true way things have been done. It doesn't have to be the only way things are done, though. And you hear it from your constituents on campus that they want options. So being able to bring a option that is thoughtfully designed, premium in fabric, to the table in that conversation, it's just a game changer. So access to choice is a big thing. I think when you look at from a campus viewpoint, what are we doing on campus to support healthcare and health wear within that category? And what options are out there? Because there's some great things that are happening behind the scenes that you might not be aware of.
Totally. Yeah, and I would say a really good test to what Jaanuu is doing. We're building our brand. We're building brand awareness. We're spending a ton of time on that, and you guys should feel it. Other people should feel it, right? If the constituents are asking for our product, we're doing something right. So that's the good feedback. It's like if you say the name and they know it and they're excited, then we're doing our job. And
I mean, we had at this table Big Ten licensing director come through, and the first thing she saw the healthware out there, she said, "Oh, my daughter's looking for Jaanuu. Do you guys have that?"
Oh, it's awesome.
We sure do.
Yes,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's becoming more requested, I would say, out of the relationships and conversation I have.
And yeah, so the LA Kings thing is really fun. And, being an entrepreneur, coming into this business, not understanding or knowing scrubs and healthcare in general, has been really fun because you look at it from a different lens.
Yeah.
And, there's some things that we're working on that I can't disclose today, but that are really kind of fun that I think are going to totally change the industry. And, once we launch it, I'm coming back on here to talk to you guys about it. But the LA Kings stuff is, we're in El Segundo. Their headquarters is in, or their main office is in El Segundo, and we really wanted to figure out, hey, how do we throw like a really fun, awesome party for the healthcare professionals and do something really unique. Minnesota guy, a little partial to hockey, right?
It's kind of a big deal.
It is, yeah. So
Blackhawk fan.
Yeah. When do the Wild play the Hawks, by the way? It's got to be coming up.
Soon.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the schedule in a while.
Honestly, the Hawks have been so bad lately. I'm checked out.
It's kind of a bummer.
I know.
They got Bedard, and that's about it.
Really good run.
We had a nice run.
Really good run. Yeah, so the Kings came about because we wanted to partner with an organization that does a lot of really cool philanthropic things, and they're so tied into Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They do such a good job there, and We did an off-whim blood drive, and the truck shows up and it's wrapped in LA Kings, and I'm going, that's kind of fun. Like, these guys care about the hospital, and then we kind of chat with their team. They have a phenomenal team, both teams, but the CHLA team, and they had nothing but great things to say about the Kings and how they're integrated into the community and how the players, unscheduled, unscripted, will come to the hospital and
that's outstanding.
Yeah, and hang out with the kids. So we felt like a really good partnership. We had a great conversation. We said, hey, we want to throw like a really awesome party for the nurses. So we partnered up. We have a healthcare appreciation night coming up in April of this year. We're going to pack the stands with 200 HCPs, celebrate them, announce them, give them some love. And Bailey, the mascot, is going to wear some scrubs too. So it's going to be kind of fun.
Now, is that something that you see other opportunities with? Is like these healthcare appreciation nights? You partner with those?
I think so. Back to the basics of why we're in business is taking care of the HCPs, and we want them to feel and know that we see them and that we're designing product for them, and we're really developing our business model to take care of them. So I think anything appreciation based, and there's levels to it, right? We do some pop-ups at other organizations where we'll hand out treats and do on-site fittings, but I think we're in a really big evolution phase of our business on how do we take that to scale?
Right.
So maybe it's getting on the road and designing a really cool retail bus, basically, and taking it across America, right? Stopping in Chicago. Hey, you guys tell us the 20 campuses you want us at, and I'll be there. I think that's where we want to go in the market, and how we want to interact with current students, future HCPs today, and really connect with our audience.
Yeah, I just thought it was so unique. I was like, saw it on LinkedIn. I'm like, why a scrub company and hockey was two I was never going to connect. But now hearing the backstory to it, I was like, this. It was a great understanding, and I think a great play from a marketing perspective of engaging the community, telling your story, and getting the brand out there in a different way.
Yeah, and the Kings everyone has data, right? They over-index on having a hockey fan base,
right?
And they probably couldn't tell you why, but they gave us all the stats. We're like, it's kind of a crazy amount of people that are in healthcare that are, season ticket holders or buy season tickets. So in a lot of ways, it was really like charity driven. We're aligned. They feel good. They got a great team. We want to go to, we want to do partnerships with people that are going to work equally as hard as we are. And the Kings thus far, and by all means, will continue to do that.
That's outstanding. If we circle back real quick, we were talking about branding on the college front and that access to choice. And we heard this from a few folks that have been at this table from licensing director roles where they have unique colors. And you hinted at this earlier, Ian, doing custom scrubs. What does that process look like for you guys to do custom dye lots where you're matching exact Pantones? Because on the collegiate front, that is an absolute must at times. And it's always interesting to hear how organizations handle that.
Yeah, that's great. So as we all know, it all starts with our favorite word, Pantone.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you get the Pantone, you work with your product team to have them work with the dyeing mill, essentially, the fabric house, and they'll kick up a sample for you. You get that to spec. You feel like it's in a good spot. Ship it to you guys or ship it to a partner and make sure they approve it, make sure it's sound, and then we go to market there. I think where the logistics of like fringe issues come into play and why you'll often see minimums so high. It's all the other stuff. It's it's the trim, it's the ribbing, all those other things that take time to get right, to make sure it's dyed correctly. Fabric, we can knock it out of the park. But when you're seeing those high minimums on a custom run, a lot of it's predicated off of those other things.
The finishing
details that you wouldn't think of. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. I also would ask you guys, like, from a logistics side, how are you handling that today? If a company sends you 5,000 scrub sets, how are you getting it to your customers? How are you guys warehousing it? Like, what, you're saying on demand 2 weeks. Are you guys storing that product in house?
Yeah. I mean, we handle it a couple different ways. We do have the ability to run storage programs here. It's something though that has been a little, antiquated though through time, where now we're looking to support things in that on-demand production front primarily. Because at the end of the day, you're not having to store thousands of things and take up real estate. But there's different ways that we handle it. And then if someone's looking for a bulk production run like that and they have somewhere to store it, by all means, we can facilitate that and explore what the color waves could be and work with partners like y'all.
It's cool.
And for custom dye, are you finding more of those requests coming often now?
Yeah.
And are you seeing a reason behind it? Is it truly seeking that brand's color, or is it because they want to create something that's different from another hospital system, so they definitely want their brand to be separated? What's the reasoning behind the request?
So custom dyes are 99% coming in from university.
Okay.
And I have some theories on like why it's happening, and I'm sure somebody somewhere probably has hard facts to this, but I think the healthcare industry is growing rapidly, and more hospital systems are condensing. Mm-hmm. So they need more colorways to diversify their departments on the hospital level.
Different units,
right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing, like I said, grape, maybe grape's going to be an outstanding core color for the future. Maybe it relates back to the hospital, but we deal with customers all the time where they have 6 to 12 to 15 different colors at their hospital. One thing we found with colleges and universities is they want diversification on the colorway and more of like a specific colored Pantone.
Right.
So that when those students go to the hospital, right, to learn and be there on site, they're not confused with someone who's got to run an IV in 2 minutes and take care of somebody. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of is, they want brand identity, collegiate, spirit wear, right? But also there is a purpose. And when they head to the hospital, they're not confused as somebody.
I was going to say identification is probably one of the biggest ones.
That's what we've noticed. I would say mostly is those universities looking for that.
Now for yourself, Ian, you've been a part of this company for a number of years, seen it grow to the point where we're meeting here today. What are you looking forward to most in the next few years for Jaanuu?
I would say our evolution of customer service.
Yeah.
You can control in business, you can control what you control at the end of the day. You can say your brand's one thing, but it's really what you put out from a product and customer service perspective. And I think that in general, that's neglected. And I think Jaanuu has a massive opportunity to really double down on customer service, take care of those people, build a really great loyalty reward system, improve the shopping experience, go deeper into that white glove. How do we make sure that they know that they're being seen and felt and heard? So that's really exciting. I'm working on some covert Black Ops stuff that I'll be back on to tell you guys about. It's a really fun idea. It doesn't exist in the space.
Okay.
We vetted it. We've talked to attorneys. We've done a bunch of stuff. And, like I said, being an entrepreneur and kind of finding that little oh, really? No one else?
Yeah.
No one else? So that's coming.
The gears start turning.
That's coming, and it's really fun.
Okay.
And I can't wait to launch that and see how the industry really takes to it. It's going to be cool.
Think that'd be something for 26, or are we talking?
I think, I'm working on it right now.
Yeah.
And we have a couple in beta phase. So it's really cool. It'll be in 26. I would say total ramp up is 27 for sure. Going live with it, but I can't wait to share that with you guys. Our new products that are coming out consistently on the DTC side are really fun. And then kind of seeing the evolution over the next 3-4 years of how penetration looks in the marketplace with getting our scrubs to distributors, to you guys working on these custom programs and doing integrations to make sure you have access to the right inventory.
Yeah.
Because the healthcare market is going to continue to grow, and I think it's over 50% in the next 10 years of where the jobs are going to be created in the US, and that has no relevant information based off of what AI is going to do.
Right.
AI is not going to be a nurse, right? So maybe a surgery here and there, I'm sure, but you still need people for that personal care. So
absolutely,
HCP is going to continue to grow. And I'm excited to see how product in general, especially at the level that we're kicking out, is received by the decorators and then received by their customers, because they can actually take care of them on a fast level.
And do you think you were talking about the service level and how important that is? Are you guys looking to drive that through technology here in the future, or is that something you're doing more internally as a culture?
Yeah.
How do you see? Because I know you brought up loyalty programs, and we've developed things of that nature of always trying to give a little more back to the student or the individual that's making a purchase, right?
Yep.
So how do you see that sort of transforming?
I think technology is going to allow us to gain other efficiencies in our business to where we don't have to spend so much time on those. And in turn, we can be more analog. We can do handwritten notes. We can work on our packaging. We can call the customer. If I could say anything that I want to do with this company is by next year, I want a calling center that we're calling our customers. We're asking them, hey, how do you like the product? Because one, we love the feedback. Two, I think that's dead. And if an HCP, if someone feels like it's a spam call, we're doing the wrong thing. It's not. It's just making sure you love the product, the fit, and if you don't like it, let's help them return it. Let's get them something else. So I think maybe technology will allow the business to gain efficiencies in one spot, so we can deploy those resources and that labor towards more analog, hand touch, white
I think
glove
we feel very
approaches.
similar the same way. I think technology is a huge tool to use, but we never want to remove our advisement or our personal touch out of that relationship. I think that's still going to be so important here in the future as you deliver a solution, whatever it may be.
Well, and especially as a lot of folks double down on AI, the folks that are staying true to that service element, you're gonna stand out
Totally
in the marketplace in just a different way. There's no way around that. So it's outstanding to hear.
Yeah, it's fun, and I'm glad a shared vision there too with you guys. It's fun, and the industry has been fragmented for quite some time, and the concept of retailers is probably condensing quite a bit. Scrub retailers that stand alone and have an assortment of products. It's taken a hit over the last couple of years, and I'm sure it's going to continue to condense, and there's a ton of market share to grab there. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up and takes it, and how people at the end of the day get product out faster, because that's comfortability number one, fashion number two, fast number
Speed
three
is right there. We talk about that all the
there.
time. Speed response. It is the tried and true baseline for service.
Totally.
If you're first to respond, you're going to be in the conversation. Well, Ian, this has been great. Thank you for coming in today and sharing your expertise in all things scrubs and the scrubs industry and the wonderful work you're building out at Jaanuu. We love your product. It's an outstanding brand. For those listeners out there that are looking to explore scrubs as an option, as a solution for your campus, for your organization, check out what they're doing. They do it different, and it's different by design.
Thanks for having me on the club.
Thanks for coming on.
See you guys.